Hello and welcome to Sports Room. I'm Anirudh Madhavan and with me is veteran journalist Ayaz Memon. On today's episode, we'll be previewing the third test between India and England to be played in Rajkot. So, Ayaz, a bit of a selection headache for India, especially in terms of batting. We now know that Kohli is out of the series for personal reasons. There's been a lot of speculation. We won't get into that. KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer have also been ruled out, but good news is that Jadeja might be fit enough to play, and especially considering it's Rajkot. So, do you think this Indian lineup, which will feature the likes of Rajat Patidar, Sarfaraz Khan, maybe Dhruv Jurel or KS Bharat, and maybe Devdutt Padikkal, looks a bit brittle? And do you think the pitch would be designed in a way to compensate for that? I mean, Rajkot has been known in the
Yeah, I
past
mean,
to be a
I
road.
don't know what they can do with the pitch at this late stage. I mean, you can obviously dig it up and relay it very hastily and then see how it plays. But I think that, by and large, they would trust, the Indian team would trust these players who've come in. These are youngsters. So what they lack is obviously experience. They don't have a player of the experience of a Kohli, leave aside a Kohli, even of a KL Rahul. So that's going to be a bit of an issue. It's a little wobbly on that count. But I would, look at it this way. Shubman Gill made runs, made a century in the previous match. Yashasvi Jaiswal made a double hundred in the previous test match. These two guys have come good, these youngsters. There's opportunity here for Rajat Patidar and of course Sarfraz Khan, of whom so much is expected. He's been he's been knocking on the doors of international selection for test matches for maybe 4 or 5 years. And now he gets an opportunity. So somebody's loss or somebody's absence gives an opportunity to somebody else. Now it's up to these guys to make it. But having said that, I must say that the batting looks a little vulnerable, more so because Rohit Sharma has not been firing on all cylinders. So, yes, there's opportunity for youngsters, but also I think somebody like Rohit has to, make his presence felt.
Yeah. Moving on, we'll talk about the star of the previous match, which is Jasprit Bumrah, of course. But there is this speculation that India might consider resting him for this test. But my question is, if he's fit and available, don't you think it's better to play him in this match, get the win, get a lead in the series, and maybe then rest him for Ranchi because he might be needed again in Dharamshala, which is seamer friendly.
I would actually go a step further, Anirudh. I would say that you play him till the series is won. Why do you want to? I mean, he's not, of the vintage of James Anderson. Yes, I know he's come back from injury, but he's come back marvelously. He hasn't looked in any distress, any physical trouble at all. Jasprit Bumrah is bowled like a maestro, and he must be so, full of confidence and ambition. So why keep him out? Workload management obviously is important, especially with, let's face it, with the IPL coming up and then there's the World T20. You want him to be around. You don't want to lose him. But having said that, I think cricketers remain, fit by playing, not by not playing. So I would say that he should certainly play this match, maybe even the next, maybe the entire series. And let's look at what's happened in terms of workload. He's played the World Cup. Then there have been 2 test matches against South Africa. And now we've got these 5 against England. So it's not that he's suddenly had so much work that you feel the burden. And he's not, Mohammad Shami had an injury, so he had to pull out. But Bumrah's come back and come back very impressively. And I think that when a guy is bowling well, his rhythm is so good, and his palate, he's tasted that wicket taking, the flavor. Why do you want to take him away? I can understand Jimmy Anderson being rested every now and then, especially playing at the age of 42 and on Indian pitches. But I would not keep Jasprit Bumrah out of the attack at all. First of all, it robs your team, robs India of its best match winner in the current scenario, and also it just releases the psychological pressure on the English team or the English batsman.
Yeah, and you talked about Anderson. So right now he's stranded on 695 wickets, and if he plays, he might get to 700, which is remarkable for a fast bowler. I mean, he is the all-time leading wicket taker for fast bowlers, but still seems to be a section of fans who don't give him the same respect like you would McGrath or Wasim Akram, and they call him Clouderson. He only gets wickets in England with the swinging conditions, but that is not true. So, in case we don't get to speak about when that happens, he reaches that milestone. So, you want to say a few words about his legacy?
Yeah, I mean, look, 700 wickets for a fast bowler is a phenomenal achievement, and just the longevity of his career. He's been what in his 21st, 20th, or 21st, 22nd year playing international cricket and fast bowler, mind you, not a batsman, not a spinner, and it takes its toll. He's amongst the fittest in international cricket even today. So the point is, one is about the wickets, almost 700 wickets. The other is about the unquenchable desire to continue playing. That is a big achievement, I think. That's the remarkable attribute about somebody like James Anderson, because day in, day out, and remember, he also has played years and years of county cricket apart from international cricket. And there comes a time when you say, mentally I'm jaded, I'm fatigued. I don't want to see sometimes players feel I don't want to pick up a bat or see a ball. But no, this guy keeps going on and on and on. So I think he's like, as I mentioned, he's just like a little boy who is still enjoying the game as he did when he was maybe 12, 14 and aspiring to play for England.
Yeah, I read a headline this morning that said he's looking like he's 21 again, and some of that credit he seems to go to the baseball camp, which is Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes. And you read about Stokes preparing to bowl, but another milestone for him is that this is his 100th test. So, want to talk a little bit about him, his captaincy, and how he's turned everything around for England.
Yeah, I mean, so certainly about the captaincy, and I'll tell you why, Anirudh, because without doubt, he's one of the finest all-rounders that we've seen. I mean, he's not been bowling regularly for the past few years, couple of years at least. In Test cricket, he's been injury hit, and he's just come back from a surgery. He's just a little shy of 200 wickets, I think 2 or 3 wickets shy. But when we talk of the great all-rounders of this world, and in my opinion, the greatest of them all has been Sir Garfield Sobers. He remains there. But then there are others: Ian Botham, Jack Callis, Richard Hadley, Kapil Dev, Imran Khan, Sean Pollock, and so on. But amongst the really, top-notch all-rounders that you talk, and there have been many: Keith Miller, Richie Benaud. When you add the dimension of captaincy to an all-rounder, then it becomes extraordinary. So you've got, Imran Khan, I mean, not just a great all-rounder, but also a great captain. And Ben Stokes is falling into that category. Ian Botham, great all-rounder, but not such a great captain. Richard Hadley didn't captain enough. Jack Callis didn't captain at all, I think, or maybe a few matches here and stray matches here and there, but a great all-rounder. But that extra dimension of a captain was missing. Kapil Dev led India to World Cup victory in 1983 as a captain, apart from whatever he did as a player. So I think Ben Stokes, in my opinion, has kind of, raised himself, elevated himself, even amongst this cluster of magnificent all-rounders into the upper echelons, because of his captaincy. And look at how transformational it has been. Yes, with Brendan McCullum as the coach and, maybe devising a strategy, but you need somebody to implement it on the field. And if you don't have the buy-in of the captain, this kind of a strategy is a non-starter. So you have to give credit to Ben Stokes. And coming to India, the way they played so far in the series is testimony to what he means. He means what he says, that they want to play attacking cricket, and they're doing it brilliantly.
Yep. And lastly, talking of milestones, I want to talk about one in the Indian camp. We have a certain YouTuber who stranded on 499 wickets, and he will most likely get to 500 this time. I'm of course talking about Ravichandran Ashwin. So, how do you sum up his legacy, not just for Indian cricket, but for world cricket? You know all the controversies, the Mankad, his encyclopedic knowledge of the game. And as I mentioned earlier, he's also a YouTuber. So, how do you sum up his legacy?
A man of many parts, some of them contentious, some of them controversial, but beyond all else, he's a magnificent cricketer. He's a match winner. In India, we've always been kind of, I won't say we've been burdened, but we had such a wonderful legacy of spinners starting from, the great Vinu Mankad, who won us the first test match that India won, 1951-52. And then, of course, the great quartet of spinners. And then there's Harbhajan and Kumble. Now, in that kind of a scenario, the mind says there can't be anybody better than all that has passed and gone in the past. But here you have Ashwin nudging 500 wickets. There's also Jadeja, and they formed a great tandem of spin bowlers. But Ashwin, I think, is amongst the wiliest, the brainiest, and most effective spinners I've seen. And the repertoire, the capacity, the ability to experiment, to suss out batsmen. I think the battle of wits that he has with batsmen is, to me, one of the hallmarks of modern cricket, not just his career. So I think I have a lot of respect and time for Ashwin. I think he's been an adornment to Indian cricket.
Yep. And so that is how the series is poised, 1-1 going into the third match. And we'll review the match whenever it gets over. So that's it for this episode of Sports Room. See you next time.
Thank you. Thanks, Anirudh. Bye-bye.